I want to welcome everybody to the board meeting. We are going to start, well, let's excuse Derek first. He's not here with us tonight. Now we'll start with the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. I believe we need to make an amendment on the agenda,
I make a
so
motion that we amend the agenda to move our item E in the consent agenda down to our executive session as per section 24-2061B of the Idaho Code to consider the evaluation, dismissal, or disciplining, or to hear complaints or charges brought against a public officer, employee, staff member, individual, agent, or public school student. That we list this as number B, discussion of early graduation requests.
Second.
thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the amendment passes. Now I would entertain a motion to approve the amended agenda.
I move
That's the consent.
Okay, that's consent, all right.
that we approve the amended agenda.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Do we have any signed in visitors? Okay. Is there any discussion about on the consent agenda?
I would like to amend letter C of the previous agenda on January 12th. Just to add
The minutes.
the minutes,
Yeah,
excuse me,
Mhm.
the minutes, on letter C, just to add that there were, the actual curriculum that Paige went ahead and gave us, it's 95% group, and that basically it's a phonetic instruction to add that into the item. She talked about the interventions steps, but I think it really needs to be in there.
To make sure that it's clear that it is the phonetic instruction.
It's a phonetic instruction curriculum, yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
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 All right, now, is there any other discussion on the consent agenda?
No.
I would entertain a motion to approve it.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second?
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Let's go to our discussion items. Mr. Hinkson, you are up to the podium.
We have a tremendous group at the middle school led by Ms. Christy Johnson, who has done an amazing job. This program was started by Jane Sanford years ago, God rest her soul, and since her passing, Ms. Johnson has stepped in and done a tremendous job. And so I asked her to speak, and she said, no, the kids can talk.
Love
But they did some wonderful things over Christmas. They do wonderful things at the school every day. They run all of our dances and make it very easy for us. They're running a kindness assembly later on in this month. And they're amazing, and I just want them to be showcased.
Come on, guys, come on.
All right, make sure you tell us your name.
All right, go up there, boys.
Come on.
Oh, sorry.
It feels better if you all stand together. But make sure you're addressing the board, guys.
Let's have them go from
What?
at least by the podium so
Yep,
that.
head over to the podium. You see that podium?
Oh. Whoever speaks is standing at the podium.
Hello, I'm Kaylin Purnell, and this is our presentation on our leadership. We will tell you what we did to help Middleton and help our school this past winter. Let's dive right in.
I am Ricky Makova, and I'm going to talk to you about the fundraiser that funded all that we did this winter season. At the winter dance, we had food, entertainment, and an amazing DJ that hyped up the whole crowd. We raised $1,700 at the dance, and that funded most of the shopping trip. And I will let Mac take over this now and tell you about the shopping trip.
Hi, my name is Mac Knight. I'm going to be telling you what we did for shopping for our families. So, as a whole leadership class, we went and bought presents for 2 families that could not afford Christmas. And so, we used the money we made from the dance. And I'll let Tommy take it. Hi, I'm Tommy Johnson, here to take you into our part of wrapping presents. After we had shopped, it was time to wrap the gifts we bought from Target. We went back to the auction, and then we wrapped the presents, which took a while, but went faster because we set up little working chains for each person. There was a gift giver who would give it to the rapper would wrap it, and the last person would ID the presents by marking them off with the age and family drop-off number. After we had wrapped it and marked the presents, we delivered them to the drop-off location at the community center. All right, now handing it off to Lila. Hi, I'm Emily Hamlet, and after we had gone and dropped off all the presents, we walked over to the cottages. For the past 2 weeks, we had making special handmade Christmas cards for everyone. We handed out the cards and sang Christmas carols we had prepared before them. We had a lot of fun and saw a lot of joy on their faces. After we sang the songs, our student president played the piano. After all the fun we had at the cottages, it was time to go back to school.
Hi, my name is Levi Peters. Now let me talk about how we set up dances. First, we would pick a location, say the auction, and then we would plan around it. So we'd set up streamers, match the theme of the dance, and then we choose jobs with it. Some people choose multiple jobs, like me, for instance, Ricky, and Tommy. Also Matt, too. Sorry, Matt. And then, like, if you just see leadership student, just in general, just anybody from the school, just give them thanks. Because it probably do, just so much.
Hi, I'm Tegan O'Brien, and when we brought all of the things for this family and with Carolyn, we knew that they would be happy with all these things that they would get instead of nothing for Christmas. Seeing the smiles on their faces brightened up all of our moods, knowing that we were having fun when we were there. Us being there really warmed up the Christmas spirit. Knowing that their family was not coming to see them, they felt happy that someone came to spend time with them. Now we will show you photos from the event we did.
So the slideshow is what the kids put together. They put together this entire thing and wanted to present it to you. Do you guys have any questions for our students?
Were there any moments that you had that stood out to you the most when you were interacting with either the residents of the cottages or just like serving the community?
At the cottages, there was probably a 90-year-old lady who couldn't open a card, so I had to go and help her open a card. Yeah, it was nice.
It was one guy's birthday there, and so that was very memorable, and we all sang happy birthday to him. And a lot of kids gave their card, their Christmas card to them, so that was very good.
Do you guys feel like because you've done this, more kids want to be a part of leadership?
Yeah.
Yeah, heck yeah, absolutely. Most of my friends are like, oh, house leadership, is it fun? I might join. And I know 4 kids who signed up.
Very good. Thank you for paving a path. Any other questions, board? Thank you, teachers, staff, administrators for empowering these kids. And you kids, you're awesome.
Right.
Thanks for making our community better. And I should add parents. Thank you, parents.
Yes.
All right. Let's move on to the new clubs. Mr. Hinkson, you just like that podium tonight. You're back.
We have 2 groups that want to start clubs. We have a couple 8th graders that came. At the high school, they have a Bible study during lunch. They would like to start the same thing at the middle school. So I thought we would start it with them in 8th grade. We have a teacher that's willing to open her room up to them, and they were asking for that. The other one is a Rubik's Cube Club from our 8th grade math teachers. They just want to do something for the kids, and their Rubik's Cubes are all the rage, and so they love them too, so
They're
they
back.
have it after school.
We're recycling the 80s.
Yes.
They're back.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Any other questions, board?
No.
Thank you. Thank you for providing opportunities. All right, Mrs. Goodson, let's talk about some new courses.
Alrighty, so as promised from last month, I'm bringing some new courses, starting with our 25, 26, 26, 27 school year. The first course, new courses that I would want to talk about, filmmaking 3 and filmmaking 4. We had previously approved in earlier years, filmmaking 1 and 2, and as that program has expanded, wanting to add on that filmmaking 3 and filmmaking 4. There is also a Design Your Future course that I'll let Superintendent Gee share a little bit more about.
Design Your Future is a course that we've been collaborating with Design Tech High School that's based out of Santa Clara. This is the same school that we've collaborated with over the last 3 years for the Innovation Diploma. Our students have actually gone and presented at their it's kind of like a TED conference, but it's for their projects. We've had students from Middleton High go and present there. And that was all for the Innovation Diploma, which is centered around a design thinking plan. But Design Your Future is actually one that we have been working with them to develop. We've been a part of developing this new course with Design Tech High. And I'm just going to read through some of the outcomes that we're trying to achieve. This would be a class for 12th grade students. Adaptability, self-awareness, relational intelligence, self-direction, project management. And the goal of this course is one to identify, and it's got up here, identify what they call a wicked problem. And a wicked problem is actually one phrase that was coined way back in the 1800s as a problem that is a challenge that doesn't have kind of set parameters around it. It's sometimes hard to even identify and articulate what the problem is. And it just forces our students to work through the process of researching, going out to solve problems. But beyond that, it's a way of giving them, building a portfolio to take them into their next steps. This would be a class that for 12th graders next year, it would replace the senior project. It would take the place of that. They do mentorships and field work. There's required internships or apprenticeships that they have to do as part of the course. But it's going to be designed by them. The course, their projects, their plans, all of that. And we've been working with on finding the right teaching setup, and we've actually determined, and the high school administration has agreed that Mr. Hollinger, Mrs. Anzalone, and Mr. Yancey would actually be team teaching this course with one of the counselors from the school. So it's something that we're trying to give another opportunity, another option for that senior project as more of a step out into the career, their career path for those students who maybe are looking at an innovative pathway into their career. Maybe it's not necessarily just right into a post-secondary class. Maybe it's going to go out and start their own business, those kind of things. So it's kind of a wide open course, but with the guidance of those administrators as the teachers, we feel like it'll be a good opportunity for them.
So they need to identify a safety,
They call it a wicked problem.
like Wicked, the show.
Yeah, but it's really not,
an acronym, isn't it?
yeah, it's not referencing Wicked, the show.
No, I know.
It's just the
What's
word.
the problem in the
It's not like a
world
wicked-
to solve, yeah.
No, it's not Wicked.
Okay,
It's
that's what I
Wicked.
wanted.
It's wicked.
Okay, Thank you.
Any other questions on that? Mrs. Goodson, anything else on that? Okay.
The next one on your document is not necessarily a new course for the high school, but a substantial revision, and it was revised to continue to meet the dual credit requirements of the College of Western Idaho. So that is to our social psychology class there. So Mr. Dean has been working with the College of Western Idaho to make sure that we are still in alignment with what they require, so that we can still offer that class for dual credit. You'll see on the middle school end, if you go down further on the document, we have 2 new courses that we're presenting at the middle school level. One is creative writing, that's an elective for our grades 6 through 8 students. This will enhance the amount of opportunities that they have in their field. And then a stream team elective that's going to focus on the local watershed science and ecology that can actually harness some partnerships with places like the Boise River Enhancement Network, our watershed, Idaho Fish and Game. So a pretty cool hands-on experience for those kids to add as an elective. One course that we did not feel like we needed to put on for a new course, but I think it would be good for the board to know, is that the middle school is working to integrate some middle school 101 strategies into our 6th grade social studies class during the first semester. So things like, how do I send an email? Well, maybe one of the assignments is that they actually have to email the assignment to the teacher. Or how do I use Google Classroom? It's, let's teach you how to use Google Classroom for our social studies class. So it's not necessarily a new course, but we wanted to let you know about some of those strategies that we'll be embedding, so that all 6th grade students will receive that in the first trimester.
We appreciate that.
And hopefully it'll help them transition from that elementary level to the middle level a little bit smoother.
It's a good idea. Very good. I think we just maybe assume that they figure that out, right? You're shaking your head. No, we don't assume that. But I think the general, you would think, okay, they're tech savvy, but no.
They still have to be explicitly taught some of those skills. And when you go from one teacher, primarily with the day, to 6 or 7 teachers, that's a shift.
Yes, absolutely. Need some skills to be independent for sure.
So you're integrating that into social studies?
So using the social studies content, but teaching the strategies of how to be successful as a middle schooler in that course.
Okay,
It's actually,
that's a great idea.
yes. Because if they go post-secondary, they're gonna need to know how to use Google.
Yeah.
Thank you. Very good. Any questions, anybody? I think we're good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I have one question.
Yeah.
All these new courses, are we gonna have teachers for them?
That's a great question. Sometimes some of these courses, if they fill, like if you approve these, obviously we need to fill the sessions with students in order to be able to offer.
So
that.
some of them won't maybe not take off.
Some may not. Some that we've offered before may not have enough student interest to fill it.
Okay,
Well, like the filmmaking 3 and 4 would still be in the same class with the filmmaking 1 and 2.
right, they just,
Yeah, they
We
could
just get
run
credits.
those technically the same period depending on the amount of students. They just differentiate differently during the class period.
oh, okay.
Well, I'm kind of excited. I'm glad for the creative writing piece too.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
That'll just happen when they have to be innovative in 12th grade.
In that design your own future class.
You got it. Thank you. Let's move on to, while you're up there, go ahead and let's go to the graduation report.
Yeah, so we finally have all the state information for our class of 2025. So I want to share that information with you. If we'll go to the next slide, Lisa. I want to kind of recalibrate us. I go over this every year to explain how we get the data. So it's broken out into 2 categories with the class of 2025. We either have graduates who met the standards, or they were an early graduate, or we have non-graduates. Those are the 2 classifications that the state looks at. Those could be confirmed dropout, if the student was expelled, if they transferred to adult education, got a GED, transferred within the district to a I should say different school, completed adaptive requirements, reached maximum age, or unknown. Maybe they left our school district and didn't apply. So those are the 2 classifications to keep in mind. So the next graph talks about what the cohort is. So when we look at our graduation rate, the state views it in cohort data. So they look at that cohort as all students who started with us in the fall of 2021 and remain with us and graduated in the spring of 2025. Now, in that, we have a lot of movement. We have a lot of students come and we have a lot of students go. And it is our job to track them to determine where they went if they left us, so that they don't end up as a non-graduate on our list. Because if we can prove that they transferred to another state or to another school in the state of Idaho, then they get removed from our denominator, which helps us increase our graduation rate. Are there questions on how the cohort's defined?
Not on that one. Not on that slide.
So if you look, this is the calculation, that little itty bitty divisor in the middle. So we're looking for the four-year cohort. Calculation is the number of members who earned a regular high school diploma that fully aligns with the state standards through the summer of 2025. That's our numerator. And then our denominator is the number of students in ninth grade for the first time in the fall of 2020, plus the number of students who transferred in, minus the students who transferred out during the following school years. I don't think I can iterate how much movement it is.
And you
Yes.
have to track them, and sometimes that is difficult,
It
right?
is. Yeah, because
Yes.
sometimes families move, and they may say they're going one place and they end up in a completely different place. So what I can tell you is that our registrars work tirelessly from the time a student is a freshman to the time they're a senior.
And what if you can't locate them? What happens?
They stay in our denominator. Yeah, we do the very best that we can do. So that's how it's formulated, if you'll go to the next slide. So this is our four-year cohort rate, and I've added in the 4 years before, just so you can see that as a district, we are sitting at 90.2 for the district, the high school. So how many of you guys are seniors this year? Okay, you will be next February. I will present about your data. And so I'm hoping that you're at least 95.8 or higher for your graduation.
Yes.
Our academy is at 70.1. The state of Idaho is sitting at 82.3. So we are well above the state average when it comes to a four-year cohort.
And I might just make a note that graduation rate for the Middleton Academy as an alternative school is one of the highest
It is.
in the state.
Yeah.
Those alternative schools generally have a much lower graduation rate.
And I think part of that is attributed to the strong relationship that our high school has with the academy and our ability to do, once a student goes to the academy, it doesn't mean they necessarily stay there. Sometimes they'll do credit recovery and then bounce back up to the high school. Sometimes it is the best placement where the student can grow, but it takes that strong partnership between those two schools. They work very well together. So go to the next one, Lisa. So this is our 5-year graduation cohort. So this is through 2024. So these are the kids who took like an extra semester or an extra year to graduate. So you'll see that that's sitting at 91.2 as a district. High school is 93.9 and the academy is 78.6. State's 84.3, so we're still ahead of the state average on the 5-year cohort as well. We don't tend to see those numbers change as much as we do the 4-year cohort. And then because you always ask, you want to know how we compare against the schools in the SIC. Class of 2026, you got a lot to live up to, I'm just telling you that right now. So when we look at our surrounding school districts, we are right at the top for graduation rate.
Very good.
Yeah.
It's something our schools can be very proud of. Again, it's the, they make sure that they get the information needed from our students so they do the best that they can.
That's good.
Do we have a feeling yet on what change might occur once we impose the new graduation requirement as the principal suggested the last meeting? If that's gonna really affect the graduation rate?
Well, I think when we look at that, it's that if the student doesn't pass the ISAT, then we've got a remedial course their following year. So I don't anticipate that has a negative impact on the graduation rate at all.
Okay. And is there also a statistic for students that we haven't lost track of them, they haven't passed on or whatever, but just they're still in our district, but just don't graduate. That's a different statistic.
Repeat the question again, I want to make sure I'm understanding what you're asking, Judy.
Well, if there's, the percentage of people that don't graduate includes those that we've maybe lost track of or for whatever reason. Do you have a different statistic for those students that we know are still here, they're in the district and they just can't graduate or don't graduate?
Those students typically, if they don't graduate in our 4 or 5 year cohort, look for other alternatives such as a GED, or they go straight into the workforce. In those cases, I don't have the exact statistic. I could run the non-grad statistics for you, Jay, if that would be helpful.
Because I'm just curious how much of those students what percentage of those students that aren't graduate are really those in the district that just aren't graduating.
Because we'd be working with just that at the high school, for instance, we'd just be working with that 4.6%.
Yeah.
If you were looking at the whole district, we'd be looking at 10%. Yeah, of that 10%, how many are not just because we lost track? So that's the question you're asking, right?
Yeah.
Because I think I can break it out for you on the reasons they would be considered a non-graduate. I can get that information for you.
That'd be interesting to know. Thank you.
Any other questions? No. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. We're just gonna, nope, it's okay. We're just gonna we did have a signed-in visitor. We're gonna give Mr. Krishanth a little bit of time to voting.
Oh, gosh, okay.
Just gonna interject it in there.
Oh.
We missed one.
Yep.
I'm glad you did this now, because I'm glad the students are here. First, 3 B's of business, be brief, be told, be gone, so I'll not take much time. I first signed up as a no, speaking to you, and I changed it to yes, and thank you. But Superintendent Yee, board and staff, thank you for letting me talk. I think it's really important that you hear this, and a little bit of a resume for me and my wife. We've had a lot of involvement with young people in Middleton. Even as much as in June last year, we had 150 young people in the middle of nowhere at a 3-day camp out. My wife and I are responsible for the activities for those 3 days. Why they chose a 70-year-old and somewhat younger spouse, mentioned any demographics there. But even before that, a lot of experience with our youth here, and since then, I don't know if, Mark, you know that I've taken on the role for youth council associated with city council. And we are also working we started out with 3 students, and now it's 8 that are working with the people that do the Middleton Spirit magazine. They're donating 2 to 4 pages in the magazine each month just for students to write in. We know it's a competition with screens for people to get print ads, and so they know it's going to be an uphill. But they've got a lot of topics, and they're really excited about it. Mark Shishu is going to have pictures of these students on the magazine. So I could go on, but the point to my standing here is, with having had as much experience with the youth in our community over the years that they've been here, I can tell you with a great high degree of assurance what quality young people we have here. And I mean that, and I know that, and I attest to that. Just the 150 kids that we had in one place, we had where young men and young women were together in a 4-hour event. And it was just amazing to me, having come from the state of Washington, how great these young people are. And on and on and on, example after example. But largely, it's due in part Superintendent Yee, to your board and staff, and all the amazing teachers that are here.
And parents.
What's that?
And parents.
And parents is where I was going to go, and that's kind of like a baseline of all of it. Is that we have a great community of people that are involved in the lives of their families and their children. And there are a lot that don't have that. My wife is involved in the foster care program for many years, for a while. We know that not everybody has families that are great and good people. But my point is that really I'm inspired, honestly, truly, I'm saying this from the heart, at the quality of the youth. And it's through a lot of hard work, thought, and I truly appreciate your efforts, and I wanted to pass that along to you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, appreciate that. All right, let's talk about the calendar.
Okay, this is not something that we would normally propose. The first calendar item is actually for this current year's calendar. And I would like to propose to the board that we assign May 14th as a day for our elementary students only. This would be pre-kindergarten through 5th grade, to not attend school that day. And our teachers would actually come in for training. And I'll lean on Mrs. Goodson if she's still here. Okay. I'll lean on Mrs. Goodson if you have any questions about the specific training that we'd be doing. But what we find is that oftentimes during the summertime and into the fall, it's hard to get everybody together to do the kind of training that you need in preparation for the new school year. There are a number of different topics that, as we've been looking at the need for training for our teachers, that having something that's during the school year would be beneficial for them in terms of preparation for the coming year. It allows them, when they come back to the school, to spend all of their time, the majority of their time preparing for those students to come. Oftentimes, especially, I would say across our district, but especially at our elementary ages, our teachers do an awful lot to get those classrooms ready in those just 3 or 4 days before school starts when they're back on contract. So I would propose that we make an adjustment to this year's calendar to allow for on May 14th, elementary students would not attend school. All other classes would be held as normal, but the elementary students would not come, and the teachers would be taking part in training. Mrs. Goodson, anything specific on the training that you feel the board ought to be aware of?
So this is where they would have some, so we've talked, last year we adopted 95 as the ELA, the reading foundations part of ELA. We need to work through some reading comprehension components and strategies for that, where we bring that piece in. Just in working with staff and our administrators, I think it would be well received and well appreciated if they had that time so that they can solely focus on that. Whereas, like Superintendent Gee said at the start of the year, they're focused on so many different aspects of getting their classrooms prepared. And this would let them head into the summer knowing what they're going to be doing when they come back in the fall, and any additional time that they choose to do.
And we also chose that time because it's after the testing windows are completed, but it's before the last we haven't hit the last 2 weeks where all kinds of end of the year type things are coming, to kind of try to hit that sweet spot before that all happens. So that's my proposal to the board. If you have questions.
Well, on our next agenda item, we have the calendar draft for 2026, 2027. Is there a similar need for that year? Will we need to bake that in? Is it already?
I would like to explore that. This is for the following year, it's a draft, but that was actually on my list of things to discuss as possibilities. It is not currently listed there in the draft that you have, just because we haven't had this conversation yet.
Will you be having anybody representing 95% the curriculum come in and do some training, or
We're taking
is
the
this
strategies
comprehensive?
from the reading comprehension components of 95% and other research-based pieces to really look at how do we use and vertically align strategies for reading comprehension, but then allow for utilizing the resources that we currently have as the content for that. For example, you might utilize this particular novel to teach inferencing. So those types of discussions.
So would the teachers be coming up with like lessons
They'd be able to work together.
as a grade level?
yeah.
Okay.
I guess to me, it's probably just more making sure we vetted that material. We
Right.
already have.
Right,
so.
because we already have that material,
So
so it
trying
would
to
be new
find-
material. And we want to make, if this is something that the board chooses to approve, starting tomorrow, we'll start getting that information out to parents so that they can make plans, based on what's happening in May.
So I just thought of another, will they do it in each of their buildings? Or will you bring them all together as a,
So we're gonna bring them all together during the, I think it's the April PD Friday, and have like kind of like an overview conversation. And then they will be in their buildings by grade bands, so that they can collaborate in their PLCs or their professional learning communities within their buildings. And then we'll bring them, when we do come back all together in August, we'll bring them back again, as whole grade level teams.
so just out of curiosity, you're not adding another professional development day in May
Not,
on a Friday?
no,
You're doing it on a Thursday?
because we don't, because of contract times, we wouldn't be able to add to it because of the contract that everybody has signed.
Okay,
And we have enough instructional hours at the elementary level.
okay.
Any other questions on that? No, that's all I have on that calendar item.
All right, let's move to the calendar draft.
Okay, so calendar for, this is the proposed calendar for 26, 27. This is currently out with our teachers as well. We did a lot of this work last year as the calendar committee got together. A couple of important highlights on this particular calendar. You see the beginning of the school year as the August 17th. This year, we're about the same time, but in order to make that work for this year, that actually pushed us beyond, okay? I'm hearing my voice from the ether there. We had to go beyond Memorial Day this year in order to get all that in. This calendar, we can start on that same day, but we don't have to go beyond Memorial Day. Do you mind scrolling up to show May? Yeah, so you can see that we would end that and Memorial Day would be on the 31st. We would be done with school before all of that would take place. So we wouldn't have to go into June or anything like that. Most of the other characteristics of this calendar remain the same with the exception of just a couple of things. The first is January 4th. This is the day after we get back from the Christmas, New Year's holiday. On the 4th, we would look at, this is a change from this year, but it's similar to what we've done in previous years. Previous years, when they came back, we would give the teachers that 4th as one of the professional development days for the month. And that allows them time to get ready for the students as they come back. Give the students one extra day of holiday during that break. And then they come back and we're into the first day on the Tuesday the 5th. In order to make that work at the secondary level, we had to find another day. But what the high school has recommended is that we remove the PSAT and SAT as required day for that. Right now what we do is we have on PSAT day, 2 grades come and 1 grade is taking the test, others are preparing that way. And then in the SAT, we do it the opposite grades. And so you end up with, at the high school level, I should say, not just, I said secondary, but I mean at the high school level. At the high school level, we would still offer the PSAT and the SAT, but it wouldn't be a day that the students missed. All the students would be coming for that whole day. And that would allow us to, in terms of hours and days that students are in session, that would allow us to meet the same criteria, the same number of total days. If we did that, move that to January 4th. The alternative to that is to have school on January 4th with all our students, and we replace the professional development day for January on either the 8th or the 15th. So that's the recommendation that had come from the calendar committee and administrators. And then the other question that is different than this year is one that is being discussed with our teachers right now. In February, you see on the 25th, this year we did not have the spring. We don't have the spring parent-teacher conference listed as a time away from for the students to stay home and the teachers to meet with parents. This adds that back in. And that's been a request from some, and some teachers have requested having that as a day where they're still able to meet with their students and prepare their students. But for the most part, what we'd heard the teachers that for this year, not having the parent-teacher conference in the spring was something that a lot of teachers and administrators felt was going to not be as beneficial for our students as it would be to be able to have that time, especially with the students. What a lot of them have said is in November, when they have their regular parent-teacher conference for the fall, a lot of times that's where you've had the students for a couple of months now, you've got a good idea of where they're at, and you're talking about where you can make interventions and different things. The February parent-teacher conference allows it to focus more on students who are really needing interventions and sometimes need a more frank discussion and time to meet with parents to talk about how we can make more significant interventions. So that's the reason for bringing that back into the calendar. In that one in February, yes.
And it's more for just elementary.
Yep, just for elementary.
Well, what in lieu of parent-teacher conferences for the high school, middle, and academy, they're gonna hold?
Those parent engagement nights, like when we held the school board meeting up at the high school,
Yeah.
that was the high school's parent engagement night.
Right.
Getting parents there to be able to interact with the teachers and their students in a different way than the traditional parent-teacher conference, as a lot of our teachers and our parents were suggesting that because of how connected they can be to what their students are turning in and seeing all that online, they felt like that interaction was still important and having parents be a part of their students' education, but having it as a traditional parent-teacher conference wasn't as beneficial. So over the last 3 years, we've done that now for 3 years, and it's been, for the most part, the participation has increased every year from our parents at all 3 schools. And we've had I've yet to have a complaint from parents about not having that parent-teacher conference outside of 2 or 3 that we've been able to get them, they said, I needed a time to meet with those teachers, and we've been able to set that time up for those.
So has that been decided on this calendar as to what day and?
No, that we allow each of those schools to set it so that it's not the same day, but the time required for the teachers to be there is built into this calendar. It's just, and so they have to plan on staying until 7 o'clock that night, just like they would if it were a parent-teacher conference night.
It just hasn't been decided.
We let the schools establish that as they come back in the fall, just based on what, they could schedule it now, but then sometimes there's a game that's scheduled that same night. And then all of a sudden it throws off how many people can come and participate.
All right.
And again, this is a draft. This is an opportunity. If any feedback that you have, we'll share this out with our teachers, and then we'll come to request approval of this calendar in our March meeting.
I have a thought.
Yeah.
When is the general election in November? Anybody know?
Should be that first Tuesday.
On the
3rd? What if you made that a PD day in middle school? Just to help people have, just a thought.
I know that there are other school districts that do that. I'll reach out and see how they manage the the logistics of that. As of right now, we've allowed, I know the other schools that have done that typically are doing that because of the voting that's going on in their buildings. As of right now, the county has requested that our buildings be available, but they have not assigned us to anything for either the primaries or the general election. And that's, last year we did the same thing. They had asked for our,
Availability.
to be available, and we made our high school and middle school available. But they chose not to use those buildings in any of their elections, so. Just something, while we would be available, it wouldn't guarantee that they were actually using our buildings on those days.
Is there still a 3-day cushion for snow days built into the calendar? Is that what it is?
Well, it's not so much a 3-day cushion for snow days as much as if you have if we have a verified emergency, and when you have a snow day, that's called they call that an emergency. If we call a snow day, then I bring that to you as a board after the fact, and if you approve that as, yes, that was an actual emergency, there was, it was for the safety of our students, we didn't hold school that day, it just doesn't get counted against us at the state. It's not like we could utilize those days to drop off more time later. So it's just not held against us if we do it.
Yeah, I just, 1 year going to school here, we had 6 snow days and we ended up having to add days at the end of the year.
Right.
At a certain point, I guess you do. but-
And during Snowmageddon, there was a similar.
Yeah.
So
Okay, thank you.
you bet.
The only other thing is, and I've mentioned it before, I'm just definitely in favor of having more school for even the high school for that.
During that.
Yeah, that was a great thing.
Oh, that's fun.
On the teacher collaboration days,
Yes.
there's only one day and it's split through the year. Do you know which day is it? Do they just decide?
They decided, and the way that we've done that is every school is broken up into their own PLCs. So oftentimes it's the PLCs individually that are scheduling that time. Just because, it's easier for 5 people to schedule a time that's gonna work for them than for 400 to schedule a time.
So it is the PLC.
It is their PLCs that they're doing. And then
Can you tell everyone what that is?
professional learning communities, which is
Thank
just a group of teachers that are coming together to collaborate. We often do that by grade level, subject area. Sometimes there's some of that time that is dedicated for staff meetings. So some of that time broken up over the year is so that the administrators can hold a staff meeting without breaking into contract.
I just really feel like that time, there's not enough of that time.
Right.
One day split throughout the year, that's just,
Well, but they still
Doesn't
can,
seem-
when the kids go to specials or whatnot, there's their prep at least once a week. I know there's teachers that do that.
Yeah.
They get together with their team and collaborate.
Yeah, it doesn't limit the teams, but what it does is provides contract protected time that they can do that. We could do additional time. The cost of that would be either taking away one of the other professional development days and spreading that through. We could add a day to the contract, but that would then require to be a part of our negotiated agreement because it's adding days. It's not that it couldn't be done, but it's something that we can explore as well.
well, as far as teachers though, you don't always have the group having the same special time, do you?
Not
Well, by
necessarily.
grade, usually you're a team, right? By grade, no, probably not in the high school level, yeah.
Or
Middle
even in
school.
elementary? I don't know, I'm just thinking,
Yeah, so
So,
it's
something
possible to add more time to that, but there's always,
Yeah.
as with anything else, you add something here, there's a cost somewhere else.
that's true.
And so
Okay.
if it's something you'd like us to pursue, we could generate what those options might be.
Okay.
Well, that's a good question.
This isn't gonna pass right away.
We're not,
Next month is what
Next
we're
month,
looking,
so,
we're looking.
can we please have a graduation date on there?
Well, we have reached out to the Idaho Center to try and get it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Did we approve the grad, do we have to, when did we do it?
Didn't we do that in October?
Did we? Must have been, not paying attention.
I thought it worked well last year at Idaho Center.
Yeah, it was great at the Idaho Center. I think probably more accessible for families and parking and such.
Even though the weather happened to be perfect, of course. But
Yes.
Thank you for all the hard work on the calendar. Those are all really good ideas.
for sure.
All right, let's move on to the fun borders discussion. Which you didn't, that was,
Yes. So there's not any documents for this one. But what we have for I just wanted to give you as a board, kind of the layout of what we're looking at with the addition of our fourth elementary school. Last year, as you remember, the board approved we had 2 phases laid out, and we approved the first phase of changing the borders primarily between Heights and Purple Sage. There were a few adjustments that got made with Mill Creek as well. But we did that to get as many students as we could into the building as it stands now, recognizing that in order to balance that between all 3 schools, the student capacity was going to be at least 106 or 107% of capacity at each of the schools, even if it was perfectly balanced. So we made our first step, because to add beyond that capacity, we were going to have to bring in portable classrooms. And so we're in the process. We have those portable classrooms in place at Purple Sage, ready to receive. We're actually going to be moving some of our classes in, because just to do the first phase, we had put some classes in the library and other places within the building. So we'll be moving those people into those classrooms as soon as the county gives us the occupancy permits. However, that was all done prior to our getting a 4th elementary, the funding for a 4th elementary. Now that that's in place, we have the possibility of either fall of 2027 or fall of 2028 to have that new elementary completed. And we're working through what that schedule might look like. Met with LKV and ESI just today, starting some of those processes in place so that we can bring before you as a board, here's when we would start, proposed ending dates and all of that. Either way, in the 2027 or fall of 2027 or fall of 2028, we're going to have to do a new border plan for all 4 elementaries. When we do that, we would be changing like these students that are we would be proposing to change in phase 2. It's possible they could be in one school in this year, another school next year, and another school the year after that, which I don't know is the best plan for any student. So my recommendation to you as a board is that we put a pause on phase 2 and let it ride as it is right now with our current borders until we know when we're going to have to build until we know when we're going to be able to occupy the new school. And at that point, make one border change rather than one this next year and one the year after or the year after that. Just to avoid situations where students might end up in 3 schools in 3 successive years.
yes.
The balance that we made this year has helped significantly. That phase 1 was close to 100 students moving out of the Heights area and over into Purple Sage. That's made a significant difference in the ability of Heights to both receive new students, because that's where a lot of the growth is coming, is in the current Heights boundaries. And for it's moved Purple Sage. We're at like 98% of capacity right now. We're very close to being at full capacity in that school. So it's allowed for those kind of things to happen. So unless you as if you as a board would need to instruct me to continue with phase 2, if we're going to do that, we would need to start those discussions in March so that parents know ahead of time what's going to be happening with that order change. Otherwise, we would take no action and we would just move on to, we would wait until we were moving into the new elementary school, at which point we'd make that change to all 4 borders.
Has there been any unexpected changes in growth or projections, or is it about the same?
Well, if you remember, over the last 3 years prior to this, we actually saw kind of a plateau. Most districts in the valley and in the state were dropping, but we were kind of holding steady. This last year, we've seen a growth of over 100 students in our district, and we anticipate that's trend is what's going to continue, is that we're going to continue to see growth. And we're not seeing it from out-of-district students as much because most of our schools are at capacity and closed.
Just mainly new construction.
Mainly new construction.
Yeah.
Correct. Any questions or direction you'd like to give me to prepare for the next?
No, I think that makes sense.
No, it does.
Just about pause it for right now.
Pause phase 2.
And I'll just make a note that doesn't require an action from you as a board, because you didn't take an action to move forward phase 2. All you did as a board was to move phase 1 into place.
I think as soon as we get more information, though, we should, or as to when we anticipate opening, we should just look at that. And if it's gonna be further out, then we may have to.
And we believe talking with ESI and LKB today, we believe that's happened, that we'll be able to have that conversation in either April or May of this year.
Good.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Thank you. Let's move on to close some checking accounts.
Yeah.
So our district currently banks with SunWest here in town. We have 2 checking accounts that are kind of inactive. They've been holding the same balance for about 14 months now. I am here to request your permission to close those accounts. SunWest won't close them unless I have it in the minutes of the meeting. One is the Middleton High School money market account. There's a $200, just slightly over $200 in there. They're not adding to it. Nothing's happening with it. I'd like to transfer that money into their current operating checking account. And that way that alleviates for our bookkeeper the need to reconcile an account with no activity monthly in the software. The second account is our child nutrition program here at the district level. For those that were here a few years ago, before I got here, the checking account was set aside and everything was being ran through the district. We have not, again, had any activity on that account, and I have to reconcile that monthly. So to do away with that, we'll go ahead and just transfer it directly into general. It still belongs to the food service. It's still their money. So I would just like permission to close both accounts, please.
And I should recognize Mrs. Krantz stepping in for Gina Corrigan. She's 2 hats today. She's our treasurer and our clerk. So thank you. Any questions, board? Thank you. All right, let's move on to the legislative updates.
Okay, I only have 2 primary things, and I think we've had some people with maybe other experiences and their different roles within the state from the board. But first, the RS for the bill that will allow us to not have to run the bond in order to receive the cooperative funds went to, the RS was presented to the House Education Committee today and approved by, the RS is just the preliminary
It's kind of like
filing.
Pre-bill.
Yeah, we're approving that it's going to come before us as a committee. So the House Education Committee has approved unanimously to accept that as a bill that they will consider.
Oh.
The one that's for the cooperative fund for us. So it applies to all schools, but it would be retroactive for the schools that were awarded this current school year. And so we are watching that bill to see when they are going to take that up for debate. And if it passes there, the pathway it has to go through is House Education, then the full House, Senate Education, full Senate, and then to the governor's desk. So keep you updated as we go. The other major consideration that impacts us is that it appears that we're moving forward with a budget that would maintain the current funding for K-12 education. There was some back and forth, and obviously nothing's set in stone, but that's where we anticipated it, where it is right now, that it would maintain that funding level for K-12 education. So those are some positive things. We got our, this is not necessarily Idaho State Legislature, but our U.S. Congress has been going through the ESEA bills, which is funds things like Title I, our special education, and those kind of programs from the federal level. All of those are either being maintained at the level they're at or a slight increase. So that's also positive news in terms of budget for the upcoming school. So that's my report. I don't know if there's others that.
I just know we're talking about IDLA cuts. I don't know what they'll look like for, they did do a presentation, but I haven't caught that yet.
Yeah, they've done a presentation. There hasn't been any, it would come through the JFAC bill.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, the proposed cut to IDLA would be $10 million.
Yes.
Which would be
So,
significant. So.
Very significant. I don't think that's finalized yet, but I think that is the plan. And then they're watching the other online academies. Nothing else really comes to
I do have IDLA numbers if they want to know.
You do have numbers? Go ahead.
So over the last 4 years, we've had 2,059 students enroll in IDLA courses.
Okay.
And of that, so in this last year, we had 141 middle school students and we had 366 high school students. And so on average per year, about 500 students taking courses with IDLA. And truly those courses are really flexible scheduling, so things that may not be offered locally with us, classes that they're trying to get ahead with. If they need credit recovery, early graduation, summer homeschool partnerships. So that's really, sometimes there's medical reasons. That's really the reasons they're taking those classes. But really the benefit for us with IDLA is scheduling conflicts. It kind of opens some barriers. So when we don't have enough students to teach a certain foreign language, we can offer an IDLA course that would teach that, and then we can offer a different language on site. And so it allows us to expand some of those opportunities for students as well. It's helped increase our graduation rates, course completion rates, and then just school choice options for students as well.
Absolutely. I know all of mine have used IDLA. The thing we've never had to use IDLA as, for rural schools, they depend on IDLA if they can't provide an English teacher or a math teacher.
We haven't had to use it in those capacities, but as we've tried to build our CTE programs, there's been situations where we needed to offer like a level 1 course, and sometimes we can partner with IDLA and do that remotely so we can build the program. So we have enough seats for students and really expand those options. We've also had situations where we've had teachers have to go out on leave mid-year, and if we can't find somebody certified in that area, then we can partner with IDLA and they bring in the certified teacher to partner with whatever substitute we have in place as well. And so there has been situations, not necessarily where we can't find an English or math teacher, but other specialty areas or ways that we've needed to utilize and have custom sections with IDLA to help boost.
I think it's been a fantastic tool for.
The flexibility that it allows us to
Yes.
have, especially in some of those situations we end up with, we can always end up doing things that are best for students because we have that flexibility.
Kind of administers that individualized plan,
It
right?
does. Yep.
So if you're enraged about it out there in the audience, go ahead and send your legislators a little love note. Cause IDLA is a great tool and I'm hoping that it survives, mostly in the capacity that it's at. I know that there's a AI bill as well, but that is probably a good thing.
Right now, it's just directing the State Department of Education to create a framework that would be utilized in schools. That it doesn't give specific directives except to tell the State Department to work on it.
No, I think that's probably wise.
Doesn't the state still have like $1 billion in a rainy day fund that it could take?
1.6 billion.
1.6 billion that it
Yes.
could take from to maintain the
Yes.
budget, yeah. Seems like that would be a good idea.
Yeah.
Anything else? Anybody?
No, I think, what next week is, we'll be participating in Day on the Hill.
That is
We're
right, on the 16th and 17th.
Going down to, the Capitol and spending some time with our legislators and with other groups of, school board members and seeing what we can do.
It's our opportunity to go sit in the Senate Education Committee and the House Education Committee and ask questions, so it'll be a good opportunity. All right, let's move on to the levy discussion.
Okay, so last board meeting, we had, the board asked for me to present 3 different options. One would be maintaining the 2.4 that we had requested from November. One would be changing that to a $1.9 million request per year, and then the other would be lowering it to about 1.5, which is the last successful levy that we passed was for 1.5, which we passed in 2023. So what you see here is the what we generated with that. And our recommendation as our recommendations for each of those options in terms of the categories, if you as board members have recommendations for different categories, we do have to list amounts by category on whatever we put out on the ballot. So it's something that we want to make sure that we're comfortable with the amounts, regardless of what that total amount ends up being. To be frank with you as a board, I think we need to be looking at either the 1.5 or the 1.9. And as to which the public is more likely to get behind, that's where it'd be nice to have a crystal ball and be able to see where everybody's going with that. But I just want to go through some of the key points of what we would lose. Because when we did this amount for 2.4, it had not been adjusted for about roughly 10 years. And so the cost of providing the different services was going up over that entire time. And so as you look at option 1, the amounts that are listed there are the amounts to maintain the services we were providing. And even though we did not have a technology section on that last, nor the classroom supply on the last 2 that we had passed, those would have to be included now because to provide the level of supply, classroom supplies, or the level of technology, which would be the one-to-one devices that we provide to our students, we would need additional dollars. When we purchased those at the last time around, they were purchased with the COVID dollars, and that's obviously not a pot of money that's available anymore. So those would be something that we would need to take into consideration. So as we look at our budget, moving that from 2.4, which would maintain all the services at the level that we're at right now, to a 1.9, what you would see, there's not additional security officers. The original 2.4 would have added the armed security officers at our high school and middle school. So they're currently at our elementary schools, but this would add it to our high school and middle school. When you move from option 1 to option 2, There's no change in we would not recommend a change in certified or classified teachers. But it would pull that down so that it's just the elementary that would be funded for the security officers. Then and that also provides for one resource officer in that category. There would be fewer funds for curriculum renewal. So when we're looking at general adoption of new curriculum, renewing new curriculum, a lot of those are on licenses, so we renew the licenses. You're talking, for the size of our district, you're talking about a cost that can range anywhere from $600,000 to $900,000, depending on the subject area.
I was gonna explain what the license is.
Okay, so the licenses are when most of our textbook companies have moved from providing the full-on textbook that you throw into the backpack and take back and forth with you to providing a digital license to access all of that information, which we access through the one-to-one devices. We have some classroom sets of some of those hard copy, but we don't have those books available for our students to use that we could just distribute out. So in order to maintain some of the curriculum that we currently have, we would have to pay for the licenses to be renewed from year to year. Now, when we do an adoption, we typically will adopt those over a 6-year period. And so we pay that up front so that we don't have to do that.
Because there's savings in that.
Because there's savings in doing that, correct. So, so that we would have fewer funds for curriculum renewal, fewer funds for transportation, which would decrease the busing options for families. And by that, there are several routes within the community that legally we don't have to provide because they're within a distance that a student could walk. We provide it as a service for those students because it's actually a longer distance for the students to walk. But we would not be able, some of those that are not legally required, we would have to stop
What is the
serving.
distance? What is the legal distance?
I want to say it's 1.5 miles.
Okay.
So we can provide that within that space if we choose, and we have been choosing to do that for some of our more far-flung that are, or maybe they cross a busier road and things like that.
Yeah.
Even if with a sidewalk and a crosswalk, which would allow them to have a safe path, it's still a long ways and increases the odds of accidents happening. And so we try to provide that, but we would have fewer funds for that, which just means there would be fewer options, and there would be people that would have to walk or take their children to school that are currently riding a bus. It increased the pay to play for families. It wouldn't mean that they had to pay the whole thing for this 1.9, but it would mean that there would be an increase. We'd be looking at close to 30 or 40% increase of the pay to play costs.
Pay to participate.
Pay to participate levels. There would be an increase for families in classroom supply costs. Right now, we pay for a lot of those required supplies so that the families don't have to. This would then require the families to pay for that. And then there would be fewer funds for regular maintenance that would lead to cuts in other areas, meaning if we can't use the funds, like for instance, regular maintenance, when we include that, that's also some of our bills. Bills go up, we have to pay that additional amount. We don't have a choice not to pay our bills. So when we pay for that, that's going to take money from a general fund, which now might come from transportation or classified staff or certified staff. We don't know what that will look like until we are then in that space, but we're paying more each year for those amounts. So that would be the amounts that we'd be looking at to move down to that 1.9.
Are we going to decide tonight what option to choose?
Well, what I would request from you as a board is to give me direction for that, because I need to be able to work with our attorneys to get the language correct, so that it would not be an official vote to tell it's going to be this much, but I need kind of a direction so that I can get the right amount, because we have to have that language in for our March meeting.
Well, as painful as it is to go from option 1 to option 3, not having the levy pass would be a lot more painful than having option 3.
Right, and if I could speak to that
Yeah.
for a little bit. The third option is similar to option 2, it's just more of each. We start cutting certified staff, we cut security, everything gets cut except for an SRO, one SRO that would be paid for. Further reductions in curriculum, further reductions in technology. What you see there, we would have to go down from that 250, that's 250,000 that's recommended for that technology upgrade, or not upgrade, renewals, replacements, to 134,000. We would cut the classified staff. There'd be no change in the pay to play and the supplies in that change, but there'd be further reduction in transportation options for families. If we were to not pass the levy, all of those things would be cut. All of it. So the certified teachers, that's 7 certified teachers. That's roughly, was it 12 classified staff? 12 classified staff, all of our security and resource officers. There would only end up, this is paying for one of our resource officers. The other resource officer is paid for by our safe and drug-free school monies. We would be down to just that one for the whole district.
But you know, there is a bill they're trying to collect tax for safe schools.
Yeah.
Off of pouches and vapes.
Yeah, and I haven't seen where that one,
I'm not sure where that one's landed, but I know that they're pushing for that. And I think most people were on board with that.
okay. We would have no additional dollars for curriculum renewals. So the teachers, we would have to develop our own curriculum at that point. Classroom supplies would be, I mean, they're similar. Transportation would just be more cuts to, I mean, we still have a legal obligation to provide transportation, so it wouldn't cut at all, but it would cut down anything that was not legally required to provide. And building maintenance obviously would get down to 0. And so when that goes down to 0, that also means probably more cuts to personnel. But that would be something we just have to work out with the budget. So those are some pretty significant cuts, and we would not be able to provide the level of service that we're currently providing. Because when you cut those kind of certified, that number of certified positions, the number of students in each classroom are going to go up.
Well, and can we talk about like our funds where people can see that we have modernization funds and that money's just sitting there, and in their minds they think, why on earth don't you just use that money? Can you explain why we can't?
Because the law says we cannot. The law actually that provided those funds for us says that those can only be used for what we call capital projects. And a capital project isn't even paying a bill. We couldn't just go and pay our power bill with the modernization funds. We have to do it. It's for projects that you're doing. Like we've been replacing HVAC units on a lot of our buildings, primarily.
So to get that, we had to submit a book like this with a 10-year plan.
Yes, and so we can't use those funds to provide any of those services that are listed here. None of these items that are on our supplemental levy are things that we could use modernization funds to purchase.
So I know it's sitting there, but trust me, if we could use it, we would, but there's tape involved.
Well, and I think another thing that's important for us to make sure our community is aware of, and this would be something that as we talk about the levy in general, is that we're not living high on the hog in terms of our carryover.
No.
There's actually a report that came out from Idaho Ed News that listed out all of the carryovers throughout the state. Middleton has, and this is for a financial planner, they're gonna look at what Middleton's doing and start being scared because we only have 5%.
Right. Which is not enough to even cover 1 month.
Correct.
If there's an emergency.
And so, but we've been trying to pay out as much as we can to make sure that we're not asking more from our taxpayers to maintain that.
Absolutely.
Those services. And so that 5% of the regular school districts in the state of Idaho, it's one of the lowest. almost at the bottom. There's like 3 regular school districts that are.
Thank you for
less than
being
that.
prudent with the money, because we should be, because everyone has to do that, so.
Well, I think there's a lot of, to lose some of the things that we currently have, our school security. There is a lot of security in that. I think the kids are more comfortable. I think parents are more comfortable knowing there's people on site that can respond to those types of problems. I think it'd be a real shame to walk away from that. And then, when you start to talk about dropping it down, and I know as a parent of a student who's involved in sports and things like that, that's gonna make it tough, because I don't want my son driving to downtown Boise in traffic, trying to get to a basketball game or something like that. Like, it's just, no, like, it's just not safe, which is
reality, because we're going 6 days.
I mean, I get it, but, like, we just, like, there is a responsibility that tradition, I mean, this is just how Idaho is set up. They put the responsibility for those pieces on the community, because they don't fund that at the state level. And so, I mean, it's one of those things that's really difficult, but what do you cut? It's not like we can do it cheaper. We have to cut physical things out, because, it's not a negotiation. It's, if you don't have enough money for new tires on the bus, you don't just use old tires, you park the bus.
Yeah, the last election results for the last levy dictates that we have to reduce, because we had, a 30% approval rate on the eastern side of our district. Right in town, there was about, a 65% approval, but to get those numbers up to that level, I think we have to cut it down, and where option 3 is painful, just having it fail would be so much more painful. And I also, like I said, I think that part of the reason why there's such a low approval rate as you get into the star city limits, especially people that live in star city limits that don't realize or understand that they're in this Middleton school district, and they really aren't interested, apparently, at helping us, is having little signs or something that says you're entering Middleton School District. So there's awareness and understanding that, hey, we need your vote to help us, not just thrive, but just survive, with these numbers.
I don't know what percentage of the issue is with what we're trying to ask for to help support the students, and just any amount is too much, or if there's apathy, or, I mean, when you look at, and we know there's an issue with apathy and the ability to get out and vote, so that's one problem. But then there's also an attitude of just any amount of money, I'm not willing to do something. I know that a lot of the conversations I saw were simply like, they're frustrated with the city and with development, and somehow this punishes them. Well, not really. It punishes the kids and the services that we can provide the kids. So I don't know. I'm more apt to look at option 2, just so that we can maintain the quality of education and services that we have for our kids, as opposed to dropping it all the way down. Because and right, to roll of the dice, you don't know, but I don't know that difference makes the difference, Like, I don't think people stayed home because of the dollars necessarily. I think people just stayed home because they didn't realize the impact it really has on our kids.
And what percentage of parents voted in the last election? It was 20.
Business is good, still.
20%.
I don't have that in the front of my head.
Yeah, it's in the 20s.
Yeah, pretty
Of our
dismal, pretty unbelievable that all these parents are just staying home. They're not coming out to support the school. And it seems like that could be changed somehow, some way.
Yeah, I hope.
Yeah.
I think option 2.
I'd be more inclined to look at option 2 than
Me
just
too.
completely drop it all the way down. I don't, like I said,
We haven't, and what kind of inflation have we had over the last 10 years? I mean, you have to consider that. We haven't pushed for that at all.
I'm torn. Having been an educator, I definitely understand these items. How many options are there in the transportation? Are we doing extra busing routes?
How many are we?
Yeah,
It's not so much extra busing routes, like they don't just say this one's an extra one, they're added on. It's, we're gonna go further with this bus route. We're gonna pick up more kids with this bus route. And so what would end up happening is sections of current bus routes would be cut off so that bus could pick up others that are further out. And when you do that, eventually you have fewer routes, but it's not just for one. Like, there's not just one that goes out and gets the ones that are extra.
I see.
It's spread.
Within a route.
Yeah, they're built in within a route. So we would cut out miles, total miles, and you'd have fewer kids that are picked up, which would allow the existing routes to pick up, and you wouldn't have to either add one, or you could go down a route as an aggregate of all the rest.
Okay.
And not going to phase 2 on redrawing the borders for the elementary school, that helps save some on the transportation.
Yes, that will save. Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm torn between, like what Jay's saying, if it doesn't pass, we're
Then we just cut it.
we'll have to cut and do that. The difference between the dollars per 100,000 of the property tax is
Right.
not that much between 1 and 2. I mean, I shouldn't say not that much. $8 is important. I understand that, but I'm torn between, I lean towards option 2, but then I say, what if it?
How much
So then
money,
I go down to 1.
how much money do we get from property tax relief from the state?
All of the property tax relief that we get, it's close to 4 million. Right now, it is paying off our bond.
Yes.
So all of the only thing that our taxpayers are really paying for right now is our supplemental levy. They won't be paying anything on the bond because the property tax relief bill is
Look at their
covering
bill and go, woo-hoo.
it's covering that cost of the bond that's on there. And this is the high school bond, that is ready to expire, 3 years from now.
What would be ideal is on the election, if we can have the options for parents to choose.
Yeah, unfortunately, they don't allow us to
Yeah,
do that.
they can, but wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
They kind of tried that similarly when they were trying to pass it back and whatever, and they broke it into 3 pieces and.
Oh, for the bond.
Mm-hmm.
3.75 million is what we
Very good,
receive
thank
as
you.
property tax relief. And that pays for that whole bond payment. So our taxpayers aren't going to be taxed for that.
Not bonds on the high school.
High school.
Yeah, there's only, a couple of years left.
3 years. And then for 3 additional years after that, it will pay off the cooperative fund that we've got for the elementary school.
Once the bonds are paid off, do we get any of that money towards our general?
It goes to the supplemental. After that, it would go to pay for any supplemental levy. And then after that, if you don't have a supplemental levy, then it comes for use for capital projects.
So we really just need this bridge for 2 or 3 years to
Correct.
qualify. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Tough deal. I guess it'd be nice to have more feedback from the community. If we were able to have a meeting and give them, the community, some feedback, giving these options, and so we have something to work with.
Yeah, I don't mind setting up a meeting like that. The only concern I have is how many attend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can make, I can
I'm gonna say
hold
no,
one.
because I've been to a lot of them. People
Yeah.
don't come. No, it is not worth his time.
Well, just to be clear, I would do it.
I know
If you
he would
wanna
do
do
it, but I think no.
We have a lot when we did the supplemental levy, the community meetings that we held last time, we held 4 different community meetings. And we had a total of 3 people.
Wow.
Between the 4 community meetings that we held.
Could we?
So there was one we just sat there
Could we
for a few
do-
minutes and then we went.
Could we do something maybe with social media where it pumps out there? Here's your options, let us know.
Yeah. And what I would do if you asked me to go that direction, what I would do is I would take those 2 options to our attorneys so that I have language for both.
Perfect.
Because we do have to make that determination in the March meeting. And so I'd have language for both that we could provide you as a board so that regardless of which one you end up choosing to vote for,
I mean,
we have the
there's
language for
ways
it.
to ask, to pull, not a meeting.
Well, we have
Yeah.
the high school
Sorry.
Instagram experts, right? They put that out there on Instagram.
Yes,
Get
yes,
Some feedback on that.
yes.
Well, I think the biggest
Just
thing is
FYI.
that I would say we should target is voter apathy more than anything. And
Yes.
I don't, like, we have to make a concerted effort to educate instead of just hoping that people make the decision. Like, we're gonna have to do a little better job of outreach, because I don't think it was a dollar amount so much as just louder voices.
There's apathy, and I think there's people that think we're just sitting on piles of money, which is that modernization money. Yes, it's there, but we can't use it for that. And I don't think that piece is communicated to them. All they see is the dollar amount and they're like, you're fine. And they're hurting, and I understand that. But I don't know what else we can do.
Yeah, we get all these high schoolers on Instagram putting that message out there. It's just a lack of information. So, yeah, get free help.
So if that's how you would like me to proceed, I will gather that information. I'll work through both social media. I can send emails out to our parents and ask that to spread beyond there, but I can't, we don't know what kind of feedback we'll get or what kind of a return. So I'll have that information for you in our March meeting.
Perfect.
And I'll have both options,
Perfect.
1.9 and 1.5 with the wording that we would need. As a clarification, if that RS doesn't pass for the
We'll have
bond,
to run.
there's gonna have to be some language for that I would present in March. The deadline for getting that in is March 13th, which is after our board meeting, which will work fine. I did call the Canyon County to ask how long it would be after we've submitted. So let's say that the bill hasn't passed yet, but we know it's going to in the next week or so. Can we get the information in and then pull it back for that bond? They said that we can do that up to March 20th, but they are double checking with the Secretary of State to make sure that there's no other options and everything to make sure that it's not on the ballot if they
That's
pass.
good.
So we technically have until the 20th, but we would have to file and then pull it back if we do it
Maybe
that way.
explain that for some of the people in here, like the cooperative fund the money that we received.
Yeah, okay. So the cooperative fund is a fund that we received to help build our elementary school. The school board had determined to use $8 million of our modernization funds to help build the elementary school if a bond had passed. The $8 million that they set aside, they continue to set aside for that elementary school. And we applied to the state of Idaho to receive what is called cooperative funds. Those are set aside for districts where bonds have failed multiple times, where the buildings are at the end of their lifespan. And so we talked through that if we had to add space, we would look at remodeling these facilities behind us, the old red brick building, the classrooms at the back of the rec center, and use that as classrooms. But what we'd rather do is utilize, rather than throwing that money into really old buildings and getting them up to code, we'd rather use that to build a new building. And the state agreed, and so the state actually awarded us $11.25 million that we would add to the 8 million that the board had used from the modernization funds so that we could build essentially 2/3 of the elementary school that we had asked the voters to approve. And that's happening without, we're gonna be able to do that without it costing taxpayers any dollars. And so that's a way for us to get a school building built. It's not the full, we were gonna build for 700 students. We're gonna instead build for 400 students. And that building will not cost taxpayers. That's, the money's coming from, now, I guess technically it's coming from the state, which gets taxpayer
Sales
dollars,
tax.
but it's sales tax throughout the state that's, balanced over more. So that's where those cooperative funds are coming to the district. And if anybody has questions about how that works, it's kind of a complicated process to get those funds, but I can walk you through each step. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry to make you
No,
explain that.
it's
It just kind of helps fit the context of levies.
Yep.
All right.
Sure.
Since it's 7:30 and I know that all you students are so excited to be here, come up and get your agenda signed, please. Thank you. All right, now everyone else is stuck around. I know you're excited. We're gonna do policy now. And we'll turn that over to you, Mrs. Pennington.
Sure. So, we don't have any changes on the first 4, and that first group of 3 is all attached together. It's policy 2320, the health enhancement education. Those are the same recommendations we came forward with during the first read, and it's the most current ISBA updates.
And that gets us in line with state legislation that was passed.
Perfect.
3525 immunization requirements, there was no changes from the first reading as well. And if you remember correctly, there was a House bill that codified some existing requirements for immunizations in school children. So it's just getting that up to code as well.
And I think there's one going in the
There's another one.
legislation that might affect all of that.
Yes. And so no changes to those. We would recommend those go to a 3rd reading just because of the content of those policies.
Any questions, anybody? Well, I would entertain a motion to move those to a 3rd reading.
I move that we move policy 2320, 2320 P1, and 2320 F1, as well as policy 3525 to a 3rd reading.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, let's hear about.
So from the last meeting, we had recommended moving policy 2700 PR1, the high school graduation requirements procedure, to a 3rd reading this meeting. Our recommendation this meeting would be to go ahead and table that. We've had quite a bit of feedback since we brought those recommendations forward, and we would like to take some more time to review that feedback, make sure that we bring but take that into consideration as we bring the next draft forward to you. And so we would table that for this meeting, give us some time to do that, and then we will bring it back when we're ready to bring that back.
Perfect, thank you.
Mainly teachers that are.
Parents,
Parents.
students, teachers, Yeah.
More
After the
input.
last, board meeting, we asked Mr. Hollinger to send it out to parents, kind of what we were proposing, so that parents had an opportunity. And there were 6 or 7 that were well thought out. I mean, we had 6 or 7 total. They were, for the most part, well thought out,
Oh, yeah.
responses. And so we felt like it was something that, one, we want to make sure others have an opportunity if they've still been working through it. And 2, gives us some time to kind of coalesce around what would address those needs of the parents and still meet the goals that they were trying to accomplish with the, so taking 1 more month still allows them to put things in place at the school.
Okay.
Sure.
Do we,
I
So
make a
there's an
motion.
action to take.
I make-
thank you.
Okay.
I knew that's what my mind was like. I can't remember, I'm sorry.
I shouldn't just start, shouldn't be easy out any questions.
No, you
before.
go right ahead.
I make a motion that we table policy 2700 PR1, high school graduation requirement procedures, until at least next month?
Yeah, till March.
Until March.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, we have some action items. I would entertain a motion to approve the clubs at the middle school as described.
I move that we approve the new proposed middle school clubs, the Bible study during lunch and the Rubik's Cube Club.
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I would entertain a motion to approve the new courses for the middle school and high school.
I move that we, approve the new classes for the middle school and the high school.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. I would entertain a motion to approve the calendar change for the calendar year 2025-2026 with an amendment for May 14th to be a no students at school day, right?
Kindergarten through 5th grade.
K through 5.
I move that we change the 2025-26 calendar by stating that May 14th will be a teacher training day for K through 5 only.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I would entertain a motion to approve to close the 2 checking accounts that were described.
I move that we, close the 2 checking accounts, due to inactivity.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 All right. I would entertain a motion to go into executive session. It's gonna be a long read.
I move that we go into executive session as per section 74-2061F to communicate with legal counsel for the public agency to discuss legal ramifications of and legal options for pending litigations or controversies not yet being litigated but imminently likely to be litigated, and as per section 74-2061B Idaho Code to consider the valuation, dismissal, or disciplining, or to hear complaints or charges brought against a public officer, employee, staff member, individual agent, or public school student, and specifically our B item discussion of early graduation requests, that we go into executive session.
Second.
Trustee Clark,
Yes.
trustee Powell,
Yes.
trustee Wagner,
Yes.
trustee Dempsey,
Yes.
and trustee Moore.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Yes, thank you for coming.
Yes.
Hope it was interesting.
Yes, please, James.
This is